It took a long time, decades, for me to acknowledge to myself, let alone to anyone else, that I struggled with anxiety. I've never been much for one to think of myself as a victim. Always thought, I'll take responsibility, I'll make things work, I'll forge ahead. And even though at times I felt very wounded and scared and lonely inside, I took many of those feelings and pretended they didn't exist. Pushed them down, buried them, to hell with them, the past is the past. Carry on. Things happened, including a heart attack, which is a pretty effective way of bringing a headlong hurtle through life to a stop. And with the heart attack, there came all sorts of emotional realizations, a lot of pain, all of those things. And it became a time of introspection and ultimately healing. Part of that introspection was understanding that I did feel anxious and understanding that that anxiety had origins. For me, it was the twin origins of one, being sent to boarding school, and two, being bullied while at boarding school. I know, I couldn't admit to myself, what, upset because you got sent to boarding school? I've always thought of myself as a radical lefty, and here I am acknowledging that I'm privileged and, well, the thing is, anxiety is what I felt. Anxiety is the legacy of me being sent to boarding school and bullied there, and it doesn't really matter what I should or shouldn't feel. That's what I felt. Acknowledging that I felt what I felt was a starting point. It opened doors. It opened doors to reading about understanding that actually the psychological effects of a disrupted childhood, in other words, being sent out of your home and into a loveless institution where there is nothing but threat, they're pretty profound. I'm not feeling sorry for myself. I am understanding myself. Understanding myself opened the ability to be compassionate, to realise that not only some of my actions were driven by a deep pain, but the actions of other people too are driven by a pain, and that compassion was the start of a journey of healing. But of course the healing happens now. I can't change what happened in the past. Not even any point in being upset about what happened in the past. What happened happened. The healing happens now. And healing can be a gentle thing. I don't have to go through the trauma of the past to heal. I need to accept it. I need to understand it. I need to have compassion both towards myself and towards those who caused me pain. Oh, so much easier to say than to do, I know, but possible. Healing happens now. And whatever patterns and expectations and anxieties and fears were laid down by the past can be laid aside in the present. About a year ago, I began talking with a colleague online, Sorrel and Sorrel also went to boarding school, had equally unpleasant experience, although very different in many ways. And she and I have been talking for about a year now about the way we have acknowledged and understood and grown beyond that early childhood disruption. And this Wednesday we are running a free webinar about moving beyond childhood dislocation or childhood disruption. It's about building resilience. It's about putting the past down. Both Sorrel and I come from the perspective of boarding school survivors, but I suspect it's of worth to anyone who struggles perhaps with a dislocated childhood. It's not about going into our trauma. It's about knowing that there is experiences that still echo within us and that we can move beyond them gently, compassionately, without judgment. Now, the webinar on Wednesday, 7 p.m. on this Wednesday, is an introduction also to a programme Sorrel and I will launch in the new year. But we're not going to ask you to come in and then just try to sell your stuff. I hate that. Don't you hate that? You come along to a webinar and you find out it's just a sales pitch. No, we're going to spend 45 minutes trying to give you some really useful grounding in moving beyond disrupted childhood. And then at the end, we're going to tell you about the programme for about 5 minutes. And if you're interested, you'll find out more. And if you're not, well, great. It's great to have had you along. The webinar's free, but we do ask you to book in advance. You can do so by following the link in the comments or the text that go alongside this video. And alternatively, you can just drop me a message or leave me a comment and I'll send you details. The thing about the present moment is it's the time when we grow and heal. The past is the past, the future unknowable. But right here, right now, there is the possibility for radical transformation. Sorrel and I look forward to making some suggestions about how that could work for you.